Welcome to another episode, I guess, of the book report. Today we have Keynes' Way to Wealth by John F. Wasik. Keynes is, I think, one of my favorite thinkers of the 20th century. The more I learn about him, the more impressive he is, and this was a very unusual book. So the subtitle kind of says it all: Timeless Investment Lessons from the Great Economist. This book really would only be for people who do their own investments or advise other people on how to do investments, or are money managers, or who are just very interested in Keynes himself as a person. I have read a lot about Keynes over the years, and biographies, mainly more critiques and analyses of his thinking and how it's evolved over the decades, almost a century now. And I have not come across most of the information in this book. In fact, John Wasik is how I would say it. Sorry if I'm mangling that. John Wasik did some original research, actually. So some of the information in this book, which was published in 2014, so it's a little old, but contemporary, and a lot of the issues that are addressed, like austerity, are still relevant. Austerity is insane, stupid, doesn't work. All right, I take that back. Austerity is fine when the economy is booming, but when there's a recession or the economy is hurting, austerity is idiotic. It's like shooting yourself in the foot. Anyway, I'll get off my horse there. And so some of this has original research, and it was only published in 2014. So a lot of the information as to the money that Keynes managed, including for Oxford, one of the colleges of Oxford, I forget which one, and for his friends, he had a couple of holding companies, one main one that he had for, I think, almost 20 years. And he was overall extremely successful. He did make some failures in the 20s, mainly in commodities, when he thought he could predict the flow of markets. In fact, that's one of the things I like, that I really got out of this book, is that someone as brilliant as Keynes, and I think he was one of the great thinkers of the 20th century. So basically a genius. I think one of the things that made him a genius, because you develop that, it doesn't just happen, is that he learned from his mistakes. He took a look at what he did, analyzed it, and said, this is wrong. Or not 100% wrong, but this I failed here, and here, and this is how I can improve. So he became a much better investor and money manager as he aged and learned from his mistakes, which I think is a sign of great intelligence. People who think they know it all basically don't know very much. So, anyway, so I thought I would run through. So this is a great book for anyone who's an investor or a money manager, or who just wants to learn more about Keynes and his perspective of him from as an investor, actually. And he was very successful through some of the most difficult times of the last 200 years to be an investor. And he wound up being very much like the Oracle of Omaha, whose name is escaping me at the moment, Warren Buffett. So buy high quality companies at a good price and hold them, right? Is really where he wound up. He started as a speculator, actually, and lost his shirt, literally. I mean, he had to borrow money just to make ends meet at one point. So anyway, and speculation is effectively, it's a kind word for a gambler, right? Speculators are gamblers. I know there are people out there who think they can predict the direction of price directions and market directions. You can't do it. It's a myth. It's basically proven that you cannot do it. I know some people think that the jury is still out on that. I strongly disagree. I mean, there have been a few people who've been somewhat successful in the short term, but in the long term, you can't do it. Anyway, so Keynes' 10 keys to wealth. 1, over time, stocks beat bonds. Again, this is sort of like the pre. Why am I blocking his name? Warren Buffett. This is the pre-Warren Buffett, kind of framework for investing. 2, speculation is a dangerous game. In other words, don't gamble, right? Or do it with a small percentage of your portfolio. Gambling can be fun, but don't bet the farm, right? Probability is not the same thing as certainty, right? And in a modern context, you could say the long tail, right? So, yes, odds are things will be within this range, but it's those outliers that kill you, and they're going to happen. Outliers happen, right? Now, they're not going to happen often. That's why they're outliers, but they will happen, and you need to be prepared. Opposed risks will help balance your portfolio. So uncorrelated assets are what you're going for, although it seems to get harder and harder to do that all the time. Kind of where I'm at now is that one of the few truly uncorrelated assets, beyond actually owning a piece of property, and even that is somewhat correlated to the general economy, it seems to be cryptocurrencies at this point, but it's definitely a dangerous place to be. I mean, cryptocurrencies are very new, and there's no guarantee that a lot of people won't try to pull out cash all at once and then, But anyway, so far, cryptocurrencies have been heavily uncorrelated to any other asset. So, and most other assets, including bonds, seem to be correlated now. Unlike in the past. Anyway, 5, opposed risk will help. 4, opposed risk will help balance your portfolio. Sorry, I went off on a little tangent there. 5, take advantage of the value quotient. So this again gets back to Warren Buffett, who, on some level, either there's no evidence that Warren Buffett actually read Keynes or learned anything about investing from Keynes, but what Keynes learned and proposed and promoted in terms of investing, Buffett got from somewhere or learned through a similar process and did it. So he looked at the intrinsic value of the company. He didn't worry about the price on the market that day. What did he think the company was worth, and what price was a bargain for him? And then wait until you have buying opportunities. 6, dividends don't lie. Dividend world has definitely changed from his time, but I think there's still some truth to that. Although some of the stronger companies today do not give dividends, including Buffett. I still think there's some truth to that today. 7, don't move with the crowd. Now this is the biggie. Right, and Buffett has the great famous quote, right? When others are greedy, be fearful. When others are fearful, be greedy. Right. So don't move with the crowd. A recession or a falling market just gives you that many more buying opportunities. So always keep dry powder, meaning highly liquid assets that won't lose their value in a down market, dry powder, basically cash, or very, very short term bonds, perhaps. Anyway, 8, invest for the long term. And 9, invest passively, meaning just buy and hold, right? And focus on the long term. If the price goes down this year, who cares? You're concerned about the intrinsic value of the company and whether it has good fundamentals, good leadership, and a good business plan. And if all those things are true, the company will survive and the price will rebound as the company proves itself to other investors in the market. And keep your eye on the long term. And then 10, I think, is the most important. And one of the reasons I think I've been attracted to Keynes more and more the more I learn about him is number 10, drink more champagne. In other words, enjoy life. Investing is about creating wealth so that you and your community, your family and your community can live the good life, right? That's really what it's all about. All right. I forget who said it. Reminds me of a great quote. A wise man has money in his hand, but not in his heart. I forget who said that. It goes back a ways. That's from like the 1700s, I think. I can't remember who said that. Anyway, don't focus. Money is just a tool. Investing is just a way to create wealth, not just for yourself. And what really matters is living the good life. Okay, thanks. See you next time.